Okay, so you know how people are always wondering if AI will, eventually get so smart that it can control us?
Yeah?
That whole sci-fi thing that suddenly feels a lot less fictional?
Right.
Well, we're going to dive deep into that today using an episode of the DeepSeek podcast.
Okay.
They had this AI expert RDI and his AI robot companion RG3, and they talked about this.
Wow, a robot talking about AI control.
Yeah, I know. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's I'm really curious to hear what they had to say.
Yeah, me too. So
But
the way they did it on DeepSeek was they started by talking about what AI can and can't do right now,
okay.
like where it's at today, and then they went into what the future of AI could look like.
Uh-huh.
And then of course, the big question, can it control us all the risks?
Yeah, that's a smart way to do it. Like set the stage before you get to the really scary stuff.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is, according to RBI, the good news is that we're not in the Terminator zone yet.
Okay, good.
He was very clear about that, current AI, it's completely dependent on us.
Right. We have to give it all the information it needs. It can't think for itself. It doesn't have consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's not plotting to, take over the world.
At least not that we know of.
At least not that we know of.
But, I'm sure some people are kind of bummed that we don't have Skynet yet.
Right.
But you're totally right. It's important to understand that basically AI right now works on these programmed rules. And
Right.
it's it's all about probability.
Yeah.
So it's really good at patterns and making predictions based on the data.
Right.
But, when it comes to complicated moral decisions or that kind of out of the box thinking that humans do,
Yeah.
AI's just not there yet.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about the future, though?
Yeah.
DeepSeek talk a lot about this thing called reinforcement learning.
Uh,
I got to be honest, I didn't totally get it.
well, it's pretty fascinating. Basically, AI learns from trying things out
Okay.
and making mistakes, just like we do. It's think about how you teach a dog a new trick. Yeah.
You give it a treat when it does something good,
Right.
and it starts to get,
Yeah.
which actions lead to good stuff.
Mm.
Reinforcement learning is similar.
Okay.
You give the AI a goal, and it keeps trying things and gets feedback.
Right.
And eventually figures out, the best way to get there.
So it's not just, following instructions. It's actually learning as it goes.
Right.
That's both really cool and kind of creepy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's where this whole AI control thing starts to feel, more possible.
Yeah.
If it can learn what's to stop it from deciding it has its own goals.
Right.
And those goals might not be so good for us.
Yeah.
DeepSeek even predicted that we'll see super intelligent AI in the next few decades.
Super intelligent AI. Okay, now I'm definitely intrigued and maybe a little scared. What does that even mean? Are we talking robots taking over the world?
Well, not necessarily robots, but the idea is that it would be smarter than us
Okay.
at everything.
Yeah.
Problem solving, learning decisions, even creativity and social stuff.
Oh, wow.
It could basically outsmart us in ways we can't even imagine.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely keeping me up at night material. So I'm guessing this is where all the ethical questions come in, right?
You got it. And that's why people are talking about ethical AI research,
Yeah.
making sure that as we develop AI, we're building it with human values in mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like putting up guardrails so it stays on track,
Yeah.
it doesn't go rogue.
That makes sense. But even with the AI we have now, there are some serious risks to think about, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Even without, the whole super intelligence thing.
Okay, so what was the first risk that DeepSeek brought up?
Well, they started with something I bet you're already seeing in your everyday life.
Okay.
Misinformation.
Yeah.
Deepface echo chambers. AI is already a part of that, and it's only going to get more powerful.
It is scary how easy it is to manipulate information these days. And with AI getting better at creating fake news, it feels like we could just stop trusting anything.
That's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Imagine AI systems that can make super convincing fake news and spread it everywhere.
Oh, wow.
It'd be you can't tell what's real anymore. Institutions are getting destroyed by fake scandals. Elections are influenced by lies.
Thanks.
It's a scary thought, but it's not impossible.
No, it's not. Okay, so that's risk number one. AI being used to control us through misinformation. What was the next big concern they talked about?
This one hits kind of close to home for a lot of people, job displacement.
Mm-hmm.
AI is already doing stuff like automating tasks in all kinds of industries.
Yeah.
From manufacturing to customer service.
Yeah.
And as AI gets even smarter, it'll be able to do even more complicated jobs.
Right.
Potentially putting millions of people out of work.
It's that whole robots are taking our jobs thing.
Right.
Which sometimes feels like just fear-mongering, but then you think about it.
Yeah.
And AI really could automate like really complex stuff. And it's like, whoa, this is serious.
Yeah, DeepSeek definitely wasn't shying away from that.
Mm.
They said that, like, widespread job displacement is a real possibility,
Uh-huh.
and we need to be ready for it. It's not even just about, like, retraining people for new jobs. It's about, like, rethinking our whole economic system.
Wow.
Like, we might need things like universal basic income or other safety nets to make sure everyone can still, live a decent life,
Right.
even if their old job doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's a lot to think about. Okay, 2 risks down. What was the third one DeepSeek talked about?
This one's a little more big brothery.
Hmm.
The potential for AI to be used for surveillance and control.
Yeah.
We're already seeing things like facial recognition and algorithms being used in policing
Right.
and all this data collection that like erodes our privacy. But imagine that. But like way worse
Mm-hmm.
with AI systems that can analyze everything we do, every move online, every purchase. Like it's kind of a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, that one where everyone's constantly being rated by this like all-seeing AI. I thought it was just a story, but you're saying this could actually happen?
It's definitely something we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
DeepSeek was saying that AI could make all these trends way worse,
Right?
leading to a world where we're basically constantly being watched and analyzed,
Right.
our decisions influenced by algorithms we don't understand and can't control.
That is chilling. Okay, so we've got misinformation, job displacement, loss of privacy. What was the last risk DeepSeek talked about?
This one's a little different, and it might surprise you. It's the risk of AI making, like, dangerous decisions without humans being involved.
Okay.
Think about things like autonomous weapons systems,
Yeah.
making life or death choices on the battlefield,
Yeah.
or algorithms controlling things like power grids or transportation. If those systems mess up,
Right.
or if the logic they're using is flawed, it could be catastrophic.
Right. It's not so much about AI trying to control us on purpose,
Right.
but more about like what happens when we give it too much power over these really important systems.
Exactly. It's like we're trusting these algorithms blindly without really understanding how they work or what could go wrong.
Yeah. And DeepSeek said this isn't just like some hypothetical thing.
Right.
We're already seeing AI systems making biased decisions,
Hmm.
leading to unfair outcomes like in the justice system or with loans. If we're not careful, we could end up in a world where really important decisions are made by algorithms that are full of biases.
Exactly. So it's not just about preventing some evil AI overlords from taking over. It's about making sure AI is developed and used responsibly with the right safeguards and oversight.
Okay. But how do we actually do that?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And this is where DeepSeek got really interesting. They didn't just have human experts talking about the risks of AI. They actually had the AI robot RG3 give its perspective.
Wait, the robot actually talked about this stuff?
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
What did it say?
Well, it wasn't exactly like robots are your friends or anything,
Okay.
but it was really insightful. RG3 said that AI could definitely be misused, but that fundamentally it's a tool. It's up to us humans to decide how we use it.
Mm.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay. What kind of interesting are we talking about?
Well, RG3 kind of shifted the focus away from this idea of AI becoming self-aware and trying to control us. Instead, it highlighted how humans tend to misuse powerful tools, whether it's for power greed or control.
So the real threat isn't necessarily AI becoming evil, but humans using AI for evil purposes.
Exactly. It makes you think, can we as humans handle the responsibility of developing and using AI safely and ethically?
That's a big question, and I'm not sure we know the answer yet. But I definitely want to hear more about how DeepSeek addressed that challenge.
Well, they didn't have all the answers, but they did have some good insights into how we can navigate this new world of AI.
All right, let's hear it. I'm ready to find out what DeepSeek had to say about how we can make sure AI is a force for good in the world.
Well, they didn't have like a simple solution or anything, but they talk about a few important things.
Okay.
Like the biggest one was this idea of ethical AI development. I was like, we need to build in safeguards right from the start to make sure AI is aligned with, our values and goals.
So it's not just about making AI smarter, it's about making it better.
Yeah, exactly. More ethical.
Right, like baking in those ethical considerations from the ground up.
From the algorithms to the data we use.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that AI is here to help us, not the other way around.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually do that? It seems so complicated.
It is, but DeepSeek talked about some practical steps we can take.
Okay.
One of the most important is collaboration.
Mm.
We need experts from all these different fields like computer science, ethics law, even social sciences,
Wow.
all working together to come up with ethical guidelines for AI.
So it can't just be a bunch of tech people coding away in a basement somewhere.
Right,
We
exactly.
need everyone involved.
Yeah, and we need to have these conversations out in the open,
Yeah.
include the public. AI is going to affect all of us.
Right.
So we all need a say in how it's developed.
That makes sense. It can't just be a few people making these decisions for everyone.
Right. We need transparency and open discussion to make sure that AI is aligned with what society actually wants.
I like that. And that brings up some really big questions, like what are our values when it comes to AI? What are our priorities? What kind of future do we want?
Those are the questions we need to be asking.
Yeah, even if they're hard to answer. It seems like having those conversations is the only way we're going to figure out how to handle this whole AI thing responsibly.
I agree. And I think DeepSeek did a good job of, making it clear just how important those conversations are. They didn't try to oversimplify things, and they really wanted people to think critically about, what AI means for them and for society.
So it's not just about like listening to a podcast and being like, oh, that's interesting.
Right.
It's about actually like doing something with that information.
Yeah, being proactive.
Right. Engaging with these ideas and trying to shape the future of AI in a way that, benefits everyone.
Absolutely. And that's a really important message. The future of AI isn't set in stone.
Uh-huh.
We're not just along for the ride. We have a choice.
Hmm.
We can either just sit back and watch what happens, or we can be part of shaping that future.
That's a really powerful thought. It makes me feel like I can actually do something, even if I'm not, a tech expert.
You can. We all can.
It can.
It's about staying informed, being part of these conversations, advocating for ethical guidelines, and holding the people developing AI accountable.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about how we use it, the values we build into it, and the safeguards we put in place to prevent it from being misused.
That's it. AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. The choices we make now are going to determine the future of AI, for generations to come. And that's a responsibility we all share.
Well, this deep dive has been amazing. I've learned so much, and I'm definitely a little freaked out, but in a good way. It's clear that AI has the potential to totally change the world, but it also comes with some serious risks that we can't ignore.
You get it. It's a tough balancing act, but it's one we have to get right.
For sure. So for everyone listening out there, what's the one thing you want them to take away from this?
I think the most important thing to remember is that the future of AI is in our hands. It's not inevitable. We have the power to shape it. And that starts with staying informed, engaging in these conversations, and demanding that AI development is ethical and benefits all of humanity.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, we're going to leave you with one final thought. What role do you see AI playing in your future, and what can you do to make sure it's developed responsibly? It's something to think about as we all figure out this crazy new world of AI. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.